Hello, I am Dr. Alaa Jabbar Almaliki. Imagine imaging a suspect's smartphone for a financial fraud case. As you process the data, you find yourself staring at their confidential medical files and private family photos. This scenario presents a frequent investigative conflict. These two scenarios look technically identical on screen. On the left, a malicious actor steals personal data. On the right, a digital forensic investigator accesses the same confidential information during an authorized search. Privacy refers to the right of individuals to control access to this sensitive data, regardless of who is viewing it. Modern devices store massive amounts of information, so investigations inevitably capture everything. Notice the small fraction of data relevant to the case, surrounded by a vast sea of unrelated personal information. The primary challenge in digital forensics is a balancing act. Investigators must weigh technical investigative requirements against the protection of individual privacy rights. Consider an investigation into a UUM staff member suspected of leaking internal exam papers. We begin with the suspect's laptop. However, the network quickly expands to synchronized smartphones, cloud storage, wearables, and even smart home IoT devices. Forensic protocol requires capturing a complete bit-by-bit image of the evidence, leading to the whole drive fallacy. By capturing the entire drive, we inherently overcollect data, sorting it into pillars of personal, financial, medical, and organizational information. This overcollection creates immediate privacy risks. During analysis, investigators may unintentionally encounter religious beliefs or medical conditions. Without strict analytical boundaries, this repository of evidence is vulnerable to data leakage. Because modern investigations span interconnected devices, the risk of excessive surveillance multiplies. Maintaining professional standards requires establishing strict technical and analytical boundaries. This map illustrates the different laws governing data privacy. In Malaysia, the Personal Data Protection Act, or PDPA, requires organizations to prevent unauthorized disclosure. Other frameworks include the GDPR in Europe and HIPAA for healthcare data in the United States. Legal compliance depends on two primary technical filters. First, data minimization involves collecting only what is relevant to the case. Second, purpose limitation ensures data is used solely for the authorized investigation. A common misconception is that organizational ownership of a device removes all privacy rights. Even on corporate laptops, employees retain a reasonable expectation of privacy, which investigators must navigate through acceptable use policies. Ethical obligations exist independently of legal frameworks. If you encounter files clearly outside the scope of your investigation, you must avoid opening or viewing that unrelated content. Legality does not automatically equal ethics. Having the legal right to access a system does not grant permission to examine every file on it. Exercising restraint is essential to maintaining professional integrity. Cloud computing complicates this process. Data collected from a local suspect often resides on international servers, creating jurisdictional blur and cross-border privacy conflicts. Let's test these principles. You are conducting a financial fraud investigation and find a folder labeled Hospital Lab Results. Do you open it to see if financial records are hidden inside? Pause the video and consider your answer. The correct answer is no. Unless specific technical indicators like mismatched file extensions suggest a decoy, opening it violates purpose limitation and PDPA constraints. Violating these boundaries carries severe consequences. Excessive monitoring can trigger civil lawsuits, while poor evidence handling renders findings inadmissible in court. Data leaks often result in professional termination. To prevent these outcomes, investigators must maintain the balance shown on this scale. Weigh investigative objectives and security needs against individual privacy rights and legal requirements by using proper authorization, access controls, and encrypted storage. The ultimate rule for digital forensic action is found at the fulcrum. Every intrusion must remain necessary, proportional, authorized, and ethical. Privacy protection ensures legal compliance, preserves public trust, and validates the credibility of the digital forensics profession. Adhering to these principles is the only way to conduct a successful, defensible, and